Well, good evening or morning or whatever time you're watching this recording. If you're on the call live, we want to welcome you to the MoJo Monday, a place for authentic. Who else loves that word? Authentic. Who is committed to living a more authentic life? Yes. And being transparent, stepping into your real authentic self and your calling. Tonight is the whole focus is on these beautiful people sharing powerful, heartfelt journeys of transformation, journeys of shifts in their spiritual walk, their physical walk, their mental walk, and how that shows up in their lives. And tonight, the theme, as you'll see in just a moment, is around, we titled this call, the life, I love adding force in the life force giving, the life-giving power of a shake. How many of us have kids drank many of the sugar-laden variety of the shake? Yeah. Those tasted great, but they didn't have much nutrition, but they had enough calories to keep us going. And then as time went on, we were introduced to some more life-giving versions of that. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, specifically our full spectrum, beautiful formulations called Ultra 30. So, all right, with your permission, Cheryl, could you give me an audio check? Once I pull up my screen, if you can make sure that you can see my screen in just a moment here. All right. Can you see my screen? Carol, could you unmute so I can hear you? I can't see you.
I can see it, Robert.
Yes,
right.
I can see it. I was trying to give you a thumbs up.
It's all good. Thanks, Barb. Thanks, Carol. All right, guys, here we go. So again, life-giving power of a shake, MoJo Mondays. So we call it MoJo Monday because, oh my goodness, without our health, you know, is life as full without our health and wellness, you know? And can we show up the way we deeply desire to show up with our family, with our loved ones, much less as a servant leader without our health and wellness? And I would dare say the answer is most of the time, no. We need our health and wellness. So this is MoJo Mondays, and it's an honor to be here. So let me see if I can, yeah. So, and we all want these formulations. Once you discover what these formulations and products do, you have a deep desire to want these to be around for our kids, our grandkids, and their kids. And so we can choose to remain in compliance. Please help us all police that in a loving way with all your fellow brand partners. Again, we do not prescribe, diagnose, or claim that these products treat any illness or disease process. These products simply give our body what it needs to be the miracle it was designed to be. And please know that. So if you're new to this, Zalevo, the whole mission and underlying foundation of this entire company and mission is we have a desire to help elevate ourselves and others to our highest potential. And that's where Zalevo comes from. You see there the ZA originated from the zenith, or the peak, if you will, and the Levo from elevating other people to that highest potential in their life, spiritually, mentally, physically, even financially. So that's why we're here with this beautiful community and company, and authentic real life stories tonight, and just a little preamble for the next 2 or 3 weeks here. Next week, we'll bring stories based, really centered around, the keyword is healthy and balancing energy drink, which is an oxymoron most of the time, because we all know what the other types of energy products have in them that we do not want. We have zero sugar in our formulations, as well as zero chemicals and man-made additives. So we're going to hear some stories around our beautiful, fun formulation called E-Vibe. And now we have, who else loves the watermelon lime? I can't see you, but hopefully you're all raising your hands and thumbs up. And we have the citrus as well still. And then the next week, we'll follow up with healthy and radiant skin stories, as well as the following week, activate your active mode. You can tell I watch some science fiction. So activate your active mode with Alpha sounds like a product that Luke and Darth Vader would love. So that's what's coming up the next few weeks here. And now tonight we're going to hear from a beautiful couple, the Lucases, along with Miss Carol up in North Texas. Then we're going to hear from Miss Martha and then Donna down in Houston, Texas. So let me stop my screen sharing and go right back to these beautiful smiling faces. So I met this first couple. Where did we first meet? I guess we met virtually first. Yeah, virtually. We started getting to know each other, sharing stories, sharing challenges, sharing celebrations as well. And then we met at some of the events. And you don't have to be around this couple very long to realize they have big hearts, a lot of passion for life. They love supporting this. They love this community, obviously, and they love being part of this journey with all of us. And they've been on the health journey, nutritional journey for many years. And then Zalevo was a godsend. So I won't spoil their thunder. So we're going to first go up to Deb and Scott Lucas. So welcome you two and put you on speaker mode. So my first question for you guys, Deb and Scott, is number one, were you already on some other products in this kind of niche? Had you already used some other types of shakes in the past?
Yes.
Yes, we had.
Absolutely.
I would say back in, it was around 2014, we both kind of started on our journey to become healthier and, and worked fitness into that. And that's when we first started taking some protein shakes. Of course, they were from GNC, and not knowing any better, we used those for probably around 3 years until we found another company that offered something that was really more up our alley, that was more natural and offered a meal replacement as well as the protein. So we used those for until we found Zalevo, until someone introduced us to Zalevo. So it's been almost 10 years that we've been taking this kind of product.
And what was thank you, Deb and Scott, what was one of the first reasons why you even shopped at GNC to begin with for a shake?
Well, it was because we were taking a martial art and found the need for added strength and nutrition and energy to get through those type of intense workouts.
Yeah, I was told one night by one of the guys in the dojo, you got to have your aminos. So I went out and found some shake at GNC that provided some aminos. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I started taking them on his suggestion.
Yeah, what in the heck's those guys? So you said strength, obviously core nutrition. Scott, you said energy. Now you got to have these amino things. So, okay. So obviously you had some results. Be real about it. That first probably shake, I mean, you probably saw a difference too with just that type of formulation.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely had a boost to it. It wasn't as at the time, being the first thing we realized that there was some kind of kick to it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as anything like what was to come.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you, in the interim, between that and Zalevo, you used a good product, and I used it too. It's something many of us did, and it was a good formulation. And you saw probably kind of even an upgrade from the results.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
significant.
significant.
It was significant.
Yeah, significant changes physically, all around. Things in the body started to change for the better.
And what changed in the body? That's kind of big. So what changed?
Well, I had some issues with my nails, and they used to be they would be wavy. They were actually, I had an injury, and it was for many years. It grew out wavy, and then when I started taking this full spectrum meal replacement shake, it flattened out.
Wow. Probably tied to the minerals and some of the other nutrients.
So another thing was I had a lot of discomfort in my gut from eating spicy foods and stuff, and it would wake me up in the middle of the night, and I wound up having to take medication, and then I wound up having to take prescription medication. But those shakes allowed me to get off of that.
Interesting. So to fast forward the clock to, and you were introduced to Zalevo how long ago?
2020.
So, wow, 2.5, 3 years now. And what was one of the key catalysts of why you were even open to something else?
For the main thing was the products that we were taking before started to lose the effectiveness started to change.
Yeah.
And we weren't the only people to realize this. A lot, people that are close to us, they realized the same thing, that things weren't as effective as before.
And customers.
Customers, and then lo and behold, we, after a fair amount of time, it came to light that they had been changing their products without telling anybody.
Okay.
So they made it less expensive.
Yeah, it was less attractive at that point, and less so they were obviously what the one of the real catalysts for coming to Zalevo was the transparency. Everything is always laid out in front of us. We know what's in the products and what isn't, and that was very important, along with the people, that are here running the show, and the brilliance.
Yeah.
We were very grateful that the person who introduced us to Zalevo did that, because it's been nothing but uphill since.
Yeah, the added thing was that Zalevo had, that the other product didn't have, was that these were liposomal. So, and we had some experience with liposomal products before, and that was something that I was looking for. I had actually asked, I put it out to the universe, is basically the people I was looking for, the products I was looking for, and lo and behold, shows up. So
Yeah, and in layman's terms, I think any of us could address this, but in essence, it was the type of a process where the cells could actually open the door for the nutrition. So other nutrients would kind of come in, and the cell, it was maybe they're hydrophobic or whatever, and that liposomal encapsulates them, Scott, with maybe a fat instead of water, and the cell can say, "Okay, I can let you in now." Does that
yeah,
make
it's
sense?
actually it's exactly what the cells are looking for, and so it's very attractive. It just grabs onto it, and makes it more bioavailable.
I love it. So it enhances, because let's be real, it takes money for these great formulations. It takes money for food, whatever. And if we see what's in a given product, which is clean, it can be clean and no compromise. But if our cells can't uptake it, what's the point? Where's the so? And obviously, you saw some. How would you sum up your results? Obviously, if you're new on this call, I'm sure Deb and Scott, you were using a variety of formulations, but this call tonight is on the shake specifically. So what are one or two of either of your top shifts once you started the Zalevo?
Well, I could speak back to what I started off with, where I had a lot of discomfort in my gut that started to return, and that all went away right away. As soon as, right away, it went away. So I was like, thank goodness, I had much more comfort with that. So, and then the muscle mass started to get put back on right away.
Yeah. And I had started gaining weight again. And when I started using the Ultra 30 Zalevo shake, I was beginning to maintain more. And then when I corrected my diet somewhat, I was losing some weight, and now I've been able to maintain. And the shakes are something that I look forward to every day. I absolutely love them. Especially after a fast. It's like, I still, every time, even when I'm not fasting, I say, oh my God, this is so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. I'm like a broken record in the house.
So good. So good.
I love it. Well, that's a great mantra. So you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being so transparent, so real. And I love the journey you've been on. And thanks for being part of this community.
We're so happy to be here.
Thanks for asking us.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you both for showing up tonight. And who else can see the glow, the Zalevo glow about this beautiful couple? Anybody else see that? Yeah, it's pretty cool. You guys are awesome. All right. So now we're going to go from Devin Scott down to over to Texas to a lady who I have the privilege of calling a close friend. And her and her hubby Keith are just beautiful people inside and out. She's been on a mission very similar to Devin Scott. My goodness, Carol goes back 25, 30 plus years as far as being in nutrition as a coach, and obviously sharing nutrition as well at a high level. And she's helped a whole lot of people, including her own self. And she has a very powerful journey to share. So we're gonna, without any further delay, we're gonna go over to Miss Carol Henderson up in Amarillo area of Texas.
Okay, well, listen, thank you so much for having me on tonight. And thank you for telling me about Slavo. Robert's the one who told me about it. And actually, I was raised on shakes, but they were different than these shakes. My mom was a teacher, so we both had to be at school at the same time or earlier. And so she would do what we called milk, milkshakes is what we call them. And it was milk, sugar, and egg, raw egg. And so, and my husband actually was raised farming and ranching, and they drank them, but they called that sweet milk. And oh, and vanilla. There was vanilla in them. And so that was my breakfast many days, 2 or 3 eggs, some milk, some sugar. And some of the other teachers and people were going, you can't be feeding her that way. You need to get up and cook her a breakfast. And, this was a while ago. So just a year or two. And so anyway, she mentioned it to my pediatrician, who had a teenager my age. And he said, are you kidding? You're getting more nutrition in her than most people are getting in their kids. She's drinking it. And it was good. What I love about shakes is you don't have to cook. And I'm a good cook. And I do like cooking, but you don't have to cook. You don't have to clean up. And it's portable. There's just wonderful, wonderful things to be said about shakes. So I've enjoyed shakes most of my life. And I do go much further back in nutrition than what Robert said. But I had a modeling agency, worked with all my models on nutrition. Their parents would send them to me and say, oh, you're sick, go see Carol. If she can't fix you up, I'll take you to the doctor. And so, over these years, I had drank many different shake companies. And I want to put a little caveat out here. Read your labels. I got into a shake that was a very well-known brand of shake. And while I was taking this shake, not the same company Robert and them were talking about, they did not change their formula, but I could tell something had happened. I picked up the phone, said, what have you done? You've changed your formula. Oh no, we haven't changed anything. But in retrospect, took 2 or 3, 4 years for this to all come together. That was when the genetically altered food got into the food chain. And this shake was based mostly on soy, which is less than healthy for humans, especially if it's not organic. So read your labels. But anyway, I had done several shakes. That one messed me up, put me in the emergency room 2 times in one weekend out in West Virginia, all alone, because I was out there scouting models. I got very, very sick for a very long time, and have had a journey getting back, used some different products that helped me to get better. If you want to know about a particular shake, I probably have a story. And was with a company drinking their shake, loved the company, loved the products, thought they were the best. And at the time they were. And that was back when 18 grams of protein was hard to find. Most shakes were 12. And I was drinking it. They were quite tasty, and really enjoyed them. The company merged, and the new group of owners decided to do without the shake and use it, let everybody go over to another one of their company's shakes. And so I was kind of like, I don't know that I want to do that. I kind of dug in my heels a little bit. But I was on a class, a mastermind Zoom thingy, and Robert was on the panel, and he started talking, and I'm texting him, and I don't know that were you even talking about Zalebo at that point?
Not really. Both of us knew we were both on a wellness journey. I saw you as a really high potential A+ prospect, but you didn't see me that way. You just saw somebody who we could talk, and you were actually marketing me something. Let's be real about it.
Yes,
So-
a frequency
Yeah.
medicine.
So
And so we're like very eager to talk to each other.
right.
Before this panel was finished, we had our appointment set up for that afternoon. So he started telling me, and the more he told me, the more I thought, they have a shake. This shake may be good. And then he sent me a video of Kirsty talking about burn mode. And at that point in time, I'd not heard of autophagy. And so there's so many things in this company that tie in. But it was the shake and Kirsty that got me. The science, like they said, the transparency, and the genuine culture of this group of people. And then Robert, somehow or another, he kept setting up next appointments. So we had that appointment, and I think we were going to talk the next day, but somehow or another, something slipped about a call about the comp plan. And I'm like, a call about the comp plan? He hadn't even invited me. I think I kind of invited myself. And so I went on the call, and I'm like, I get this. They had some things that those from the other company that you hear talked about weren't aware of, but that because of my journey, I was aware of some of the perks on the money side of this. And I'm like, okay. And I think that it was that day or the next day that I jumped in with both feet. So I didn't just tiptoe in, I jumped in with both feet. I had given up on losing weight. I had decided I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be healthier. I knew a lot of how to do it, but for some reason or other, what I taught my clients did not always work for me. And I finally thought, I'm going to be happy. I'm a little fluffy, and, I'm going to quit complaining and griping at God about the pounds.
Huh.
So I jumped in, did the program, and the shakes were a major part. And from that day forward, my husband and I have done 2 shakes a day, most days. I won't say we've never missed, but most days. And I can't tell you how much I lost, because I didn't weigh before it started. I had decided I wasn't going to weigh again ever. But then my clothes started getting loose, to the point people are going, I think you need to go shopping. And I'm going, why? And it was just, I even have a video of a pair of pants that I used to wear and not wear well. And then I wore them well, and then I didn't wear them well again because they were way too big. So anyway, all of that to be said, the transparency, the quality of these products, the fact that you can talk to the formulation team and ask questions, and that all of this is clean. There's no hormones. There's no genetically altered stuff. They're good. And as one of the teenagers in the group says, it tastes like ice cream. And so they are very, very good, and absolutely love them. And I'm so thankful that 2 years ago, 2 and some years ago, Robert and I met up on that Zoom call, and I jumped in. And there was a trust factor. I had met him, and then when I visited with all the people on the marketing team, call, I'm like, I like these people, and there's that gut instinct of, when you meet your tribe, and when it fits. So I don't know if I've covered everything you wanted me to cover or covered too much, but anyway.
You're all covered it beautifully. So thank you, Carol. Who else can see very evidently and clearly that Carol lives in integrity and authenticity? And so what comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. So thank you, Carol, for who you are and how you show up in the world. Thank you. Great story. And if you ever want to see her little video where she is holding up, those jeans that didn't fit anymore, so feel free to reach out to Carol or any of us. Carol, give my best regards to Keith as well. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
And just so y'all know, he is healthier and stronger and doing so well on the Salevo products. Major improvement.
Yeah, thank you for that. For those who want to hear more of Carol's story, we did an interview with her, a full interview as well, and on a couple of different calls, she shares about more of the journey with her hubby as well. So feel free to reach out. So now we're going to go over to a beautiful lady who's wearing purple tonight. Love the color. And this lady is a woman of faith, and she obviously has a big family herself. She has a family gathering coming up. She just was staying with a daughter and grandkids just a week or two ago. And just, again, she's full of light and sunshine. So I asked her to come on and share briefly of her health journey, specifically tied to our full spectrum shakes. So welcome, Miss Martha, to the call tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. I love the products and I love the shake and I love to talk about it. And some people wish I didn't talk so much, but
it's all good. So what we're looking to hear tonight is whether you were already on this type of product, and what was the big catalyst, or what was the biggest reason why you were very open and willing to put this shake in your body?
2005, my husband and I started a program that included shakes and cellular cleansing and everything. And we were both very successful. I stuck with it. He decided not to, and it had been a big part of my life. And got a little sloppy, didn't stay true to my program. Then my husband got ill, passed away, and I needed information from our good friend Jim Rhodes and Kathy, his wife, on how to go about getting the business part out of his name. And so, and I knew and loved Jim and all of the people's names that went along with him. When he started telling me what was going on, I knew the integrity of the people he was talking about. And I said, help me get my name off of that other program also, because I had not felt the clarity and the energy that I had been getting in the previous years, where I was a little more faithful with that company. But so with the integrity of all of the names that Jim was dropping as he was telling me about the Salevo company, I said, sign me up now. Because I know these people, Kirsty and Jim and Joe Iverson and all of the names he started dropping. I go, well, I don't need to know anymore. And so Kathy got me on the phone, showed me what I needed to do, and I started taking it. Love the shake. It's my go-to. I love the freedom, like Carol said. I love to cook, but I also love to eat. So if I'm not cooking and I'm making me a shake, then I don't eat as much of the other stuff. And I also love the fact that I don't have to go shopping for a whole bunch of exotic food and everything to get the nutrition and the protein that I need as a woman turning 75 in September. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed learning about with Salevo is, and when I started taking the proper amount of protein, my body started changing. And I can honestly say I no longer have anything in my home that doesn't fit me. Nothing's too small anymore. That's a real joy in my life.
Yeah.
And I've also working towards a goal, and my wedding anniversary, if I hadn't lost my husband, we would have been 54 years, but I still consider myself married. So we have 54 years coming up. He's just been absent for 2 now. It'll be 2 years in November. But so my goal is I'm real close to being my wedding gown weight. And so August 30th, I'm going to try on my wedding dress.
Yeah. Well,
And I get to enjoy the flavors. My favorite shakes are chocolate, banana, peanut butter, or vanilla, banana, and blueberry. But I try all kinds of shakes. My grandson's been staying with me for 12 days. He tried mandarin orange with vanilla, and he, Grandma, you gotta taste this. So we get excited like Deb does. Taste this, it's delicious, it's wonderful. So because of my loss with my husband, I decided I was at a crossroad and I needed to either feel sorry for myself or get up and get busy. So I got busy, started exercising, going swimming, doing water aerobics, did the swim leg of a marathon with my son and my granddaughter. And it's just been, it has helped me live my life. I called the first year of my husband's death my healthy grieving, because the Levo helped me with that. And I had COVID brain that was really crazy. But now I'm into healthy living, and I'm loving everything. Did I say I love the shakes?
I think you did. And by the way, one last question, Martha. I love your story. So what have you found to be your kind of ideal place as far as grams of protein per day now at your activity level, at your age?
I always get it mixed up. I can't remember if it's 87 or 78, but I try really hard to stay close to 87. And then when the build came in and I started putting the build in the shake, holy cow. That was, and when did that come out? Just a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago.
2 or 3 months ago.
Things have really, really changed for me. People everywhere I go, and I'm excited to see what my family says when I get to my family reunion Wednesday.
Well, even virtually seeing you on these calls, you could tell your fitness is evident, and you had that Z glow as well. So thank you for being who you are. Love and light to you. Thanks for being on tonight, Miss Martha.
Thank you, all of you, for being part of my Zalevo family, and it's a big part of Zalevo.
Well, love and light. You're awesome. You're an inspiration. Thank you, Martha. So don't you love that, guys? These formulations, including the shake, can serve so many roles in our life, including through a grieving and kind of a life renewal process. So thank you, Martha. So one last story, and last but not least, it's a lady who, she's on many of these calls, but there's so many applications and topics that her journey fits under or in. And this lady is a force of nature. She's very active and competitive, from road racing to playing on the courts with the great sport of tennis, out in so many cases out competing and out maneuvering a lot of her counterparts, including no matter what age or male or female they are. And this lady, I've known her for many years, her and her family, and I just think the world of her. So let's go down to Houston, Texas, and hear from Miss Donna.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. Yes, full disclosure, like Carol, Robert introduced me to Zalevo. We were both with a previous company, and I had been with that company since 2005, I think, 2006, something like that. And I had used their shakes and initially had great success. But like some of the others you've heard from, I stopped having that same sort of success. Right. And then one day I saw a Facebook post from Robert, and it said something about the best getting better or big changes or something. So I had to message him and what's going on, So he got back to me and told me about Zalevo. And what initially hooked me was he told me that the shakes, while having 30 grams of protein, had only 6 net carbs. Now, for those of you who don't know what a net carb is, it's when you take the total carbs and you subtract the dietary fiber, the grams of dietary fiber, then you get your net carbs. And my husband was, having issues where he had to change his diet and limit his carbohydrate intake. And so the other shakes had too many carbs, and it was evident in his blood work. So when Robert told me about that, I'm like, well, we have to try this. And initially I was just wanting to get my husband on it, but then I'm like, I'm not going to buy it for him and, not take it. So that's crazy. So I ordered up our product and I started using it, and lo and behold, going through the program, yeah, his lab numbers look better. That's great. But my numbers on the scale and body fat percentage and all that was looking much better too. The clothes were fitting a lot looser. Went to a retreat with Barb and Carol, and a bunch of us fasted during the retreat, and then did our shakes and everything. And we got to the airport leaving, and we're like, our clothes don't fit anymore. We're trying to keep them up, but the shakes are delicious. The weight that I've lost helps me get around the tennis court much easier. I'm, back to being quicker. I tell people I'm living my second childhood, but now I can afford it. It's that kind of a thing. And the shakes are delicious. I grew up, Robert said that we grew up drinking shakes. Well, I was that kid that, on the way out the door, my chocolate milk in the morning was my breakfast, because, why did I want to waste time eating when I could take extra time sleeping, right? Teenagers do. And I tell you what, these chocolate shakes just remind me of that so much. It's so delicious. And, my husband and I both every day, at least one, often two. Full disclosure, no shakes for me today. I'm in the middle of my burning. So, but that's the only reason I don't take the shakes. And that shake I drink tomorrow morning is going to be especially delicious. But yeah, it's been a great product for me in so many ways. And, I hesitated to tell Robert that I would share a testimonial, because you have seen me too many times, I feel like, and I'm like, but I waited to see how many people he had available. I'm like, okay, I can help out, because I love them. They're delicious.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I do have the additional question we asked Miss Martha. So you're, again, very active metabolically and with your sports. So what is your protein goal every day?
Oh, yeah. So I take in right around 80, 85. And so the shakes get me to 60. And then I can have a nice meal with plenty of protein. And oh, by the way, I don't have to worry as much about the carbs during my meal, because I didn't have very many drinking the shakes, So, your macros, you got to look at all of them, right? And when I look at the macro intake, oh, I've only had 12 net carbs from the shakes. Guess what? I can have close to 30 and be okay, during my meal. That's quite a bit of carbs in one sitting. So, I, don't typically max it out, but, it's nice to have that available. The other thing I've noticed is so many women, we worry about osteoporosis and things like that, but there's a muscle wasting that happens as we get older. And taking your protein is so important to keep the muscle wasting away. And so I like it for that too, because when I'm on the tennis court, people are always commenting about how I don't look, well, you're thin, but you don't look skinny, you don't look, and they mean that in a good way, because you see so many women that they're thin, but they're not fit. The skin is sagging, you can tell there's no muscle underneath the skin. So I know that the protein that I take in helps me keep my muscle. And the scale, my Renfro scale shows it too, because my muscle mass has actually increased using the shakes. Whereas someone in their 60s like me, they tell you it should be decreasing. So I got to believe it's my protein intake.
Yeah, and the minerals as well. And now with the burn, it makes it even easier, I'm sure, that with the build. Yeah. And Donna, you're always a ray of light. Thank you for who you are and how you show up every day So we appreciate you. Thank you for your friendship and your trust and your
Robert.
passion here. Thank you.
Anything for you, my friend.
Appreciate you. Right back at you. So if you're, whether you're a veteran or a newbie on the line, do these stories, reinforce everything we stand for, and hopefully there's Cowboy Jim. Hey, Jim, love to hear a closing thought from you.
Thank you. I would love to give a closing thought. I've been listening to each of these testimonials. They are powerful. Thank you all. Wow. The one thing that many people don't realize with this full spectrum shake and 3 different forms of minerals, one of them that has the 72 trace minerals is called fulvic. We know about cleansing and we know about detoxing, but did you know that the fulvic has the ability to go in and pull garbage out of the cell? It's a chelator. It pulls nutrients in. It grabs garbage that doesn't belong in there. The cell doesn't know what to do with it. It sticks around. Things like heavy metal and that sort of stuff, it's hard to get out. It pulls that out as it goes out, and then it's washed out with the lymphatic system. So every time you take a shake, you're not only putting good nutrition in to feed the body, you're really doing a cleansing program to every one of those trillions of cells. So it's beyond any shake that I've ever seen, ever heard of, because of the 3 separate types of minerals. If I just add that one more thing, you've got the Red Sea kelp, which has 70 of those organic minerals, high in the ones we need more of. You got the ancient sea salt, so you're picking up your zinc and you're picking up your iodine, things that you need on a daily basis from that source. And then you have these fulvic 72 trace minerals that are just usually missing in 99% of our diets. This all in one shake. That's why it's full spectrum.
Wow. I think I'm in love with the shake more. Thank you, Jim. Every time I many love Jim, and every time he comes to these calls, he brings so much knowledge and love and passion and light. So we love you, big brother. And so next week, again, is stories around one of our favorite products called E-Vibe, lights up the brain, lights up the body. So be sure and be on that call. And other announcements, for the couple newbies on here, remember we do our servant leader chats Monday and Friday mornings. Plug into any of us for that. Thank you all for being here. And Jim, I know this is one of your favorite things to do. I'd love for you to count us up.
Let's do it at the count of 3. Let's become a force for good. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Force
Force
for
for
good.
good. Hey.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
Good
Thank
Good night.
you.
Yeah.
Awesome call, Robert.
Bye, everybody. Have a good
Everybody.
one.
Thank
Everybody.
you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Robert.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks,
Thanks, Carla,
Carol
for
and
being here.
Martha.
Good night,
and
everybody.
Mrs.
You're welcome.
You.
Thanks, everybody.
Night, John Boy.
Good to see you here, Carly.
You guys.